Linda Blair's life isn't just a Hollywood story. It's the roar of a woman who refused to let fame, fear, or expectation define her. Born on January 22, 1959, in St. Louis, Missouri, Linda didn't stumble into greatness. She earned it with raw emotion, unshakable will, and an honesty that pierced through every performance she gave. Long before she became the terrified child the world would never forget, she was already lighting up cameras as a model and commercial actress, carrying a spark that made her stand out even in a crowd of stars. That same spark led her to the groundbreaking role of Regan McNeil in the 1973 phenomenon The Exorcist. At just 13, Linda Blair didn't just act. She transformed, channeling fear, innocence, and emotional chaos into a performance so powerful it shook audiences to their core and changed cinema forever. She was nominated for an Academy Award and won a Golden Globe, achievements that most never reach in an entire career, yet she achieved them before adulthood. But behind the accolades came a double-edged sword, fame that refused to let her grow, headlines that refused to let her move on, and an image that seemed impossible to outlive. Yet Linda was never someone who accepted limits. She broke free from the shadow of her past and began redefining herself with bold, fearless roles that confronted society's darkest corners. In films like Born Innocent, Sarah T., portrait of a teenage alcoholic in savage streets, she dove into stories of pain, resilience, and female strength, becoming a voice for those who had none. She took on roles that scared others away, exploring abuse, addiction, and recovery, not because they were easy, but because they mattered. As the 1980s and 1990s unfolded, she chose independence over fame, authenticity over applause. She became a cult favorite, not for playing safe, but for staying real. Her energy, her defiance, her vulnerability made her unforgettable. Yet her most remarkable transformation happened beyond the spotlight. When the cameras dimmed and the red carpets faded, Linda Blair discovered her truest purpose, compassion. She turned her pain into power by dedicating her life to rescuing abandoned animals through the Linda Blair World Heart Foundation. What started as a small mission of love became a vast sanctuary of hope, saving thousands of innocent lives. She poured her time, money, and soul into giving animals a second chance, proving that her heart was even bigger than her fame. She didn't do it for attention. She did it because empathy defined her more than any award ever could. Her fight for animal welfare became her legacy, and her unwavering voice for the voiceless turned her into a real-life hero. But Linda's honesty about her struggles, facing judgment, loneliness, mental health battles, and the pressure of growing up under the world's gaze, made her story even more human. She never hid her scars. She used them to heal others. Her truth resonated with people across generations because it wasn't polished or rehearsed. It was real. She stood tall not as the girl who once played with darkness, but as the woman who learned to turn darkness into light. Today, she continues to appear at conventions and in interviews, not to chase relevance, but to celebrate the art that started it all. She embraces The Exorcist as a piece of her soul, understanding that the role that once haunted her eventually became her greatest teacher. It taught her resilience, courage, and the beauty of self-reinvention. Linda Blair isn't a relic of the past. She's a living symbol of survival, grace, and fearless transformation. Her story reminds the world that fame can fade, but purpose never does. She stands as proof that real power comes not from applause, but from empathy, from the quiet strength to rise again when the world expects you to stay down. From the trembling young girl who faced cinematic demons to the compassionate woman who fights real ones every day, Linda Blair shines as a light of hope, proving that no label, no role, and no darkness can ever define a soul destined to uplift others. She turned her fame into fuel for change, her pain into purpose, and her legacy into love. And that is the kind of story that lives forever.